Hey everyone, so let me ask you something. How many of you started your day with coffee? Yeah, I thought so. Here's the thing though. Most of us drink coffee for the energy boost or just because we love the taste, right? But what if I told you that every cup you're drinking is doing way more for your health than you ever imagined? I'm talking about legitimate, peer-reviewed, published in major medical journals kind of benefits. Today, I'm breaking down 4 incredible reasons why coffee isn't just okay for you. It's actually one of the healthiest things you can drink. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll feel a lot better about that coffee habit. Let's jump in. Reason number 1, your heart's unexpected ally. All right, so for years people thought coffee was bad for your heart. Too much caffeine, right? Gonna give you palpitations, raise your blood pressure, all that stuff. Turns out, the science completely flips that narrative on its head. A massive 2024 study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism tracked over 188,000 people and found something pretty remarkable. People who drank about 3 cups of coffee per day had a 48% lower risk of developing multiple cardiometabolic diseases compared to people who barely drank any. We're talking about type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, and stroke. That's not a small reduction. That's cutting your risk nearly in half. The study looked at caffeine consumption, specifically, and moderate amounts, around 200 to 300 milligrams per day, which is roughly 3 cups, showed the most protective effects. Even more interesting, this protection wasn't just about preventing one disease. Coffee drinkers who did develop one cardiometabolic condition were still at lower risk of developing a second one. So there's this cumulative protective effect happening. Now here's something that really surprised researchers. An umbrella review that analyzed 201 different meta-analyses covering 67 unique health outcomes found that coffee consumption was more often associated with benefit than harm across a huge range of health issues. The sweet spot, 3 to 4 cups per day, showed the largest risk reduction for all-cause mortality, with a 17% lower risk of death from any cause. When you've got an umbrella review, which is basically a study of studies, all pointing in the same direction, that's about as solid as evidence gets in nutrition science. Dr. Gregory Marcus from UC San Francisco, who's done extensive research on caffeine and heart health, notes that contrary to popular belief, drinking caffeine in coffee is actually associated with a lower risk of abnormal heart rhythms. Multiple studies on arrhythmias have shown that coffee drinkers have lower hospitalization rates for heart rhythm problems. One Kaiser Permanente study of 130,000 people found that those drinking 4 or more cups daily had a 20% lower risk of arrhythmia hospitalization. Your heart actually seems to like coffee. Reason number 2, liver protection. That's honestly incredible. Let's talk about your liver, because this is where coffee really shows off. Your liver is responsible for over 500 different functions in your body, and keeping it healthy is crucial. Coffee appears to be one of the most liver-protective substances we know of. A UK Biobank study involving nearly 500,000 people followed participants for over a decade. The results were stunning. Coffee drinkers had a 21% lower risk of developing chronic liver disease, a 20% lower risk of fatty liver disease, and a whopping 49% lower risk of dying from liver disease compared to non-coffee drinkers. The maximal protective effect was seen at around 3 to 4 cups per day. And here's the kicker. All types of coffee showed benefits. Decaf, instant, ground, espresso, they all protected the liver. The mechanisms here are fascinating. Coffee contains compounds like caffeine and chlorogenic acids that have anti-fibrotic effects on liver cells. They reduce connective tissue growth, stimulate cell death in cancer cells, and inhibit the synthesis of collagen deposits that cause liver scarring. A 2016 review by the International Agency for Research on Cancer evaluated 14 cohort studies and 11 case control studies, and found consistent evidence that coffee reduces liver cancer risk. The 2018 European Association for the Study of the Liver actually recommends coffee consumption for patients with chronic liver disease to reduce their risk of liver cancer. When major medical organizations start recommending a beverage as part of disease management, the evidence is strong. Studies show that drinking more than 2 cups per day in patients with pre-existing liver disease is associated with lower incidence of fibrosis, cirrhosis, lower hepatocellular carcinoma rates, and decreased mortality. One study found that 2 to 3 cups daily gave a 46% reduction in risk of death from chronic liver disease, and 4 or more cups gave a 71% reduction. That's a dose-response relationship that's hard to ignore. Reason 3. Cancer prevention across multiple types. Now we're getting into territory that sounds almost too good to be true, but the data is remarkably consistent. Coffee consumption is associated with reduced risk of several types of cancer. Large-scale epidemiological studies have found that high versus low coffee consumption was associated with lower risk of prostate cancer, endometrial cancer, melanoma, oral cancer, leukemia, non-melanoma skin cancer, and liver cancer. For several of these cancers, there were significant linear dose-response relationships, meaning the more coffee consumed within reasonable limits, the lower the cancer risk. Here's what's important to understand. Coffee contains over 1,000 individual compounds, and many of them have demonstrated chemopreventive effects, meaning they help prevent cells from becoming cancerous. Some compounds in coffee activate pathways that target oxidative stress and cellular damage. Others induce processes that kill disease cells. Research shows coffee's bioactive compounds work through multiple mechanisms, including antioxidant activity, modulation of specific cellular receptors, and even influencing the gut microbiome. One fascinating aspect is that both caffeinated and decaffeinated coffee showed benefits in many cancer studies, suggesting that it's not just the caffeine doing the work. It's the complex mixture of polyphenols, antioxidants, and other bioactive compounds that make coffee such a powerful preventive beverage. Reason 4. Longevity and quality of life. Let's bring this all together with the big picture. Because ultimately, we don't just want to prevent specific diseases. We want to live longer, healthier lives. And coffee delivers on that front too. A systematic review analyzing the benefit-risk relationship of coffee consumption and all-cause mortality found something remarkable. More than 3.5 million healthy years of life lost could be prevented by consuming just 1 cup of coffee per day. That's 3.35% of estimated years of healthy life lost across populations. At current consumption rates of 1 to 8 cups daily, an estimated 4.7% of years of healthy life lost could be prevented. If everyone consumed 3 cups per day, which appears to be the optimal amount, we could potentially prevent 6% of years of healthy life lost globally. Coffee drinkers appear to live longer, healthier lives. A comprehensive review of coffee's impact on health concluded that moderate coffee intake, which is about 3 to 4 cups, providing 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine per day, shows little evidence of health risks and substantial evidence of health benefits. Over 60% of Americans drink coffee daily, and the global data suggests that this habit is contributing to better health outcomes across populations. The mechanisms behind coffee's longevity effects are diverse. They include glucose balancing effects that help prevent diabetes, increased physical activity levels among coffee drinkers, increased fat oxidation, antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects, and protection of cellular function. Coffee essentially addresses multiple pathways of aging and disease simultaneously, which is why its effects are so broad and significant. So there you have it, 4 scientifically solid reasons why coffee is one of the healthiest beverages you can consume. Cardiovascular protection that cuts disease risk by nearly half, liver benefits that are frankly remarkable, cancer prevention across multiple types, and measurable increases in both lifespan and health span. The research involving hundreds of thousands of participants across decades consistently points to the same conclusion. Moderate coffee consumption is genuinely beneficial. Now, some important caveats because I care about you making informed choices. First, we're talking about moderate consumption, which is generally 3 to 4 cups per day, providing 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine. More isn't necessarily better. Second, these benefits are primarily seen with black coffee or coffee with minimal additions. Loading your coffee with sugar and cream can negate many of the positive effects. Third, if you're pregnant, have certain heart conditions, or take specific medications, you should check with your doctor about your caffeine intake. And fourth, timing matters. Drinking coffee late in the day can interfere with sleep quality, which is crucial for health. If you found this breakdown valuable, drop a comment and let me know what other food or drink topics you want me to dive into. I love exploring the science behind what we consume and bringing you evidence-based information you can actually use. Thanks for watching, and enjoy that next cup of coffee. You're doing your body a favor.